What is your thought on whether that's a valid argument?
I think it is a valid argument.
Trump is a liar with no respect for the Constitution.
I hear the sweet sound of freedom, and I won't be long.
I'm going to talk about a news clip that I saw over a week ago, but I just can't get it out of my head. Why? Because it's satanic. I mean, seriously, it's one of the most satanic news clips you've ever seen. And so I'm going to play the clip for you. It's 85 seconds. But before I do, I just want you to be looking for two satanic characteristics. Now, nobody else is dumb enough to talk about it this way, but I got that covered. The first is that Satan lies, and he lies by twisting the truth. Go back to the garden. He went to Eve, didn't try to hit her with gender confusion. He said, "Did God really say?" And he went on to twist. In the temptation in the wilderness, Luke 4 and other places, he said, "Hey, Jesus, jump off the temple. The angels will catch you, because it is written, the angels will catch you." And Jesus said, "Yeah, it's also written, don't tempt the Lord your God." So he lies by twisting the truth. The other thing that he does is that he accuses. In Zechariah 3, Joshua, the high priest, is standing before the angel with Satan there to accuse him. In Revelation 12, verse 10, it tells us that the accuser of the brethren was cast down. So he lies by twisting the truth, and he accuses. Please watch for those two characteristics or attributes, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to play this 85-second clip, and then we're going to talk about it.
There's an argument circulating about whether the 14th Amendment that prohibits anyone, quote, engaged in insurrection or rebellion from holding public office bars Trump from running for president. Now, this hasn't been tested in our system before. Do you think, what is your thought on whether that's a valid argument?
I think it is a valid argument. The 14th Amendment, Section 3, is pretty clear. If you engage in acts of insurrection or rebellion against the government, or you give aid and comfort to those who do, you are disqualified from running. It doesn't require that you be convicted of insurrection. It just requires that you have engaged in these acts. It's a disqualification from holding office again, and it fits Donald Trump to a T. I think this will be tested when a Secretary of State either refuses to put him on the ballot or puts him on the ballot and is challenged by a litigant. I would imagine it will go up to the Supreme Court, and that's the big question mark through all of this, which is, what will the Supreme Court do? There are prominent constitutional scholars as well as prominent progressive scholars who believe that he should be disqualified. But will the court take that step? Ultimately, only time will tell. But I do think it is a very legitimate issue. By the clear terms of the 14th Amendment, he should be disqualified from holding office.
We're going to take these in order. Now, first of all, who is Jen Psaki? We're going to talk about her. She is the former chief mistress of propaganda for the Obama Joe Biden regime. For about a year, she was White House press secretary, and after about a year of circling back, she jumped on a golden parachute, worked out a deal with MSNBC to do a weekly poopcast. Okay, that's where I believe this clip came from. But what she's doing is that first characteristic of lying by twisting the truth. She begins this segment by saying, there's a theory circulating out there. So she's positing the notion that she's this news person covering something that's out there. The only problem is she's the story. She's part of the theory. She's pretending to be covering something when in fact she is creating. So she is trying to posit to the audience the notion, all right, once again, that she's covering something when in fact she is the very thing that she's supposedly covering. Now let's move to Mr. Schiff.
I think it is a valid argument. The 14th Amendment, Section 3, is pretty clear. If you engage in acts of insurrection or rebellion against the government, or you give aid and comfort to those who do, you are disqualified from running.
The very notion that Adam Schiff is on this program to begin with is completely ridiculous. Adam Schiff is a serial liar, an intentional serial liar. For years, he lied to the American public that because of his position on the House Intel Committee, that he had seen things that were more than circumstantial about Russia collusion with the Trump campaign. It was a complete and total lie. The Mueller report showed that. It's a complete and total lie. He was censored by Congress, and in a rare, brave moment by Kevin McCarthy, was actually removed from the House Intel Committee. So why is he even on TV at all? He ought to be spending the rest of his life hiding his face in shame. But he begins by, this is the same thing, taking a truth and twisting it. And I want you to notice that what he said was, the 14th Amendment is very clear that person that engages in insurrection or gives aid and comfort to those who do cannot run for office. Well, first of all, President Trump's not guilty of anything, but they're already trying to make this distinction between holding office and running for office. So even in this first exchange, he's already twisting what the 14th Amendment actually says.
It doesn't require that you be convicted of insurrection. It just requires that you have engaged in these acts. It's a disqualification from holding office again. And it fits Donald Trump to a T.
Okay, let me boil this down into hillbilly redneck for you. You just heard the words of a lying devil, okay? He says, it does not require that you be convicted of insurrection. What is the it that he's talking about? The it that he's talking about is the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which means it's part of the Constitution. The 14th Amendment is not a standalone document. It's part of the Constitution. And the Constitution also guarantees the right to due process. Now, we sum that up by saying innocent until proven guilty. Those words do not exactly appear in the Constitution, but the concept is so familiar with everyone that we're all comfortable saying innocent until proven guilty. Donald Trump has not been proven guilty of anything. He is innocent, so lying satanic liar Adam Schiff is trying to make his case merely on the basis of unproven accusation, and in so doing, the Constitution completely obliterates his supposed view on the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
I think this will be tested when a Secretary of State either refuses to put him on the ballot or puts him on the ballot and is challenged by a litigant. I would imagine it will go up to the Supreme Court, and that's the big question mark through all of this, which is, what will the Supreme Court do?
Adam Schiff is not nearly as good a liar as he evidently thinks he is. He just said, this will probably be tested when a Secretary of State either refuses to put him on the ballot or they put him on the ballot and a litigant contests it. He has, make no mistake, folks, he has already been in conversations with the cabal. He knows what the Secretary of State in Colorado is going to do. He knows about all the other players that are part of the agenda that they're trying to advance by pretending this is a news story. We'll get to that a little bit later, but a little bit more of Satanic Schiff.
There are prominent constitutional scholars as well as prominent progressive scholars who believe that he should be disqualified. But will the court take that step? Ultimately, only time will tell. But I do think it is a very legitimate issue. By the clear terms of the 14th Amendment, he should be disqualified from holding office.
They are speaking in code, folks, to their fellow Kabbalists. Now, Adam Schiff just gave away the whole game plan. Now, keep in mind that he just said prominent constitutional scholars and progressive scholars. Well, we're talking about the Constitution, right? Satanic Shifty Schiff. What in the world is progressive scholars? What they're telling you is that this is not news. Psaki is a thespian. This is community theater news. They're playing a part. Their part is to just move the football a little bit, to try to make it look like this is legitimate, because the Colorado Secretary of State and others are already been given their marching orders. And so he's throwing out this idea that there are such a thing as constitutional scholars and progressive scholars, and that it ultimately is going to go to the Supreme Court, which, let's just make it simple. This is lawfare, pure and simple. That's all it is. It's an abuse of the legal system, and it's based on lies and accusation.
The Democratic Secretary of State in Colorado, Jena Griswold. Secretary Griswold, good to see you again. Thank you. You've always been such a good friend to the show. And look, this is complicated for you because you don't have the role as an advocate or as an activist in this case.
You want further evidence that Jen Psaki is a news thespian? Well, look at her colleague, Velshi, a fellow news thespian. He's not interviewing Jena Griswold. He is framing the performance of Jena Griswold when he says, you're a good friend to the show and you're not an activist and you're not an advocate, when that is exactly what she is. She is performing the part that she was assigned in this agenda.
What have your lawyers been discussing about what proof looks like? Is the impeachment proof? Is the January 6th committee proof? Is the outcome of one of these indictments proof?
Look, folks, we haven't forgotten about Jen Psaki and Adam Schiff, but I'm playing this couple of clips for you so that it illustrates that they were merely playing their part in the community theater news network to pass the baton on to the likes of Velshi and Jena Griswold, who are playing their prescribed parts. And listen to what he just said. He said, what is proof? Is the impeachment proof? Well, the impeachment didn't prove anything, did it, Velshi? The January 6th committee, it was merely an accusation. And the outcome of indictments, there haven't been any outcome of indictments. It's all based on accusation. And then Jena Griswold is going to try to respond as though she has some respect for the Constitution. Unbelievable. Take a look.
Trump is a liar with no respect for the Constitution.
Well, she's a class act. Not. I started this video by asking you to look for two satanic characteristics: lies and accusations. This entire agenda is based on lies and accusations. And make no mistake, we're only seeing the very beginning of it. But I've got news for you. Satan is defeated. And yes, this is satanic. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. But I got good news. We win, they lose. And I want to show you one last thing. Look on the screen on the Chiron for the Psaki and Schiff exchange. Notice how it says legal scholars debate. Why doesn't it mention the names of any of these legal scholars? Can I let you in on the little secret? Ain't none. This is just a propaganda, Ministry of Lies agenda. And once again, it will not be successful. All right, we're going to bust through one more lie in this satanic narrative. The notion of legal scholars. Forget that. It's the same experts agree. Did you notice that it was the experts that agreed on things like masks, social distancing, safe and effective? Look at where that's got us. I'm going to read Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. It's going to take 45 seconds, but at the end of this 45 seconds, you're going to know that you don't need any constitutional scholars or any brilliant legal minds. This is simple stuff. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any other state, who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. It's real simple, folks. There was a Fedsurrection. There wasn't any insurrection. We have a constitutional right to peaceful assembly, and we have a constitutional right for redress of grievances. They haven't proven anything against President Trump, and they cannot. They are proceeding merely on the basis of accusation, and they know it, and we're not going to let them get away with it. Had to get that in there. Until next time, God bless you, God bless your family, God bless the state of Ohio, and God bless the United States of America.
I hear the sweet sound of freedom, and I won't be long.